A supermoto is basically a dirt bike that put on sneakers and decided to commit tax fraud. It's an enduro bike with road wheels, sticky tires, and suspension travel longer than most people's attention spans. They'll do everything: wheelies, stoppies, sliding around corners, hopping curbs, cutting across grass, or blasting straight through a hiking trail because technically it's still a dirt bike in disguise. If you drop it, who cares? The bodywork is cheap plastic, and the suspension was literally invented to absorb bad decisions. The magic isn't top speed. They're terrible there. What they have is insane acceleration. Snap the throttle and the front wheel just levitates, climb a hill without trying, carve city traffic like it's Mario Kart. But once you hit the highway, reality sets in. You're screaming at 10,000 RPM in top gear, and some guy in a Honda Civic with 3 hubcaps missing drifts past you sipping iced coffee. Supermoto riders usually own one hoodie, a pocket full of zip ties, 2 unpaid speeding tickets, and the belief that noise ordinances are just friendly suggestions. They like going wild, until the freeway, where they suddenly remember they had somewhere local to be anyway. Naked bikes, also called standards, are the bread and butter of motorcycling. If you just Google motorcycle, you'll most likely find pictures of naked bikes. That might sound boring, but don't be fooled, naked bikes cover more ground than any other category. Here's the thing, they come in every shape and flavor. On some nakeds, you're laid back and comfy, almost like cruisers, designed for chill riding without back pain. On others, you could get gapped by a bicycle. And then there are the hyper nakeds, essentially super sport bikes stripped of their fairings. Same insane speed, same engine, just less plastic to cry about when you drop it. And there's much more in between in the naked category. That's why they're everywhere. They hit the sweet spot. Not as extreme as a sport bike, not as couch-like as a cruiser. They can commute, carve twisties, go touring, or just look good parked outside a cafe. You can buy one as your first bike and still love it 10 years later, because it'll keep up whether you're riding to work or trying to gap your friends on faster machines. And like all naked things, they are nice to look at. The funny thing is, naked bikes have such a wide range that you can't stereotype a typical rider. It could be a retired supersport guy, a reckless commuter, or a crazy naked biker. Touring bikes are basically two-wheeled cruise ships. They come with heated grips, heated seats, GPS, Bluetooth, cup holders, and about 20 headlights. Basically, everything except a built-in microwave. Though, give it a year, and they'll probably add that too. These things are built for cross-country trips. 500 miles in a day? No problem. Want to keep going? Still no problem. With 2-up comfort, you'll actually forget your passenger is even there, right up until they fall asleep and drool on your jacket. And yes, riders really do use all those gadgets. The bike will happily calculate your fuel economy, track your lean angle, and even adjust the suspension for you. None of which you actually need to ride, but hey, it's nice to brag about. Touring bikes are usually ridden by retired dentists with Bluetooth headsets. They'll tell the gas station clerk they're headed to Alaska, even though they're really just on their way to Starbucks. And then there are the Supersport bikes. A Supersport is basically a race bike that grew headlights so it could sneak onto public roads. The handlebars fold your spine into origami, the rear sets jam your knees into your armpits, and the engine screams like a swarm of angry hornets. On the track, they're incredible. They can lean ridiculously far into corners, have insane power, and brakes that could stop time itself. On the street, 95% misery, 5% glory. These bikes are only fun if you live near a racetrack, or if you've got unresolved anger issues and like blasting through urban areas at 300 kilometers an hour. The typical Supersport rider is either an insane 22-year-old with a GoPro strapped to his helmet or a loving father of 3 who told his wife the bike only goes 60 miles per hour. Ah, the scooter. Technically 2 wheels and an engine, but ask any biker and they'll say it's closer to a hairdryer on wheels than an actual motorcycle. It's the fast food version of riding. Cheap, quick, and absolutely guaranteed to make you lose respect in every group ride. Sure, they dominate the cities. Just twist the throttle without shifting gears, park anywhere, groceries under the seat, done. But let's be honest, scooters aren't ridden, they're used. They're transport for people who want motorcycle convenience without ever actually being bikers. And the worst part? Normies think they're in the same category as real motorcycles. They're not. You don't bring a Nerf gun to a gunfight, and you don't bring a scooter to a bike meet. Scooter riders show up in flip-flops, carrying their weekly groceries under the seat. Everyone else sees them as traffic cones with turn signals. But hey, at least they'll never have to worry about speeding tickets. Scooters are really popular in developing countries, especially India. Enduro and motocross bikes are like the feral cousins of motorcycles. Both are built for dirt, jumps, and mud. But here's the difference. Motocross bikes are track weapons. No lights, no speedometer, no mirrors. They're not made for asphalt. Enduro bikes are their more practical siblings. They get a bigger tank, some lights, and just enough equipment to sometimes sneak onto the road, depending on where you live. Think of them as motocross bikes that reluctantly learned manners. People buy them saying, "I'll ride it everywhere." In reality, highway riding on an Enduro feels like strapping yourself to a paint shaker at 70 miles an hour. But in the woods, mud, rocks, steep climbs, sketchy single track, nothing else even comes close. Motocross bikes, on the other hand, are happiest when they're airborne. They're great for jumps, terrible for actual roads, and if you ever try to sit down on one for more than 5 minutes, congratulations. You no longer have a butt. These riders spend more money on the truck to haul the bike than on the bike itself, while motocross riders just measure fun in broken bones. Both groups call pavement transfer sections and consider cleaning their bikes negotiable. Cruisers are basically a couch on 2 wheels. Low seats, wide handlebars, lots of chrome, and engines that make more torque than horsepower. They're heavy, they're wide, and they're designed for one thing: laid-back riding in comfort while still looking like you belong in a leather vest. They're not about speed or cornering. They're about rolling slow, sounding mean, and making sure everyone within 3 blocks knows you've arrived. Unlike their wilder cousin, the chopper, cruisers are actually practical. You can ride them for hours, sit comfortably, and still pull up to the bar looking like you've just come back from Route 66, even if you really just came back from Costco. Cruiser riders are usually middle-aged dudes who swear they're not racing anyone, but mysteriously always launch hardest from the stoplight. And yes, they'll tell you with a straight face that loud pipes save lives. If cruisers are couches on wheels, then choppers are cruisers on crack. Stretch the forks until they look like a tuning fork, jack the bars up to your ears, take off anything remotely practical, and congratulations, you've built a chopper. They started in rebellious 60s garages, but these days you can buy them straight from the factory because capitalism saw an opportunity and said, yes, let's mass-produce rebellion. Here's the twist. While everyone thinks choppers are backbreakers, they're actually not that uncomfortable. You sit low, stretched out, and mostly just cruise. The performance? Forget it. They're not fast, they're not nimble, they're basically parade floats with open exhaust. But man, do they sound amazing. And if you've ever wanted strangers to compliment your bike while you're buying a Gatorade, this is the one. Just don't try a U-turn in a parking lot unless your idea of fun is wrestling a refrigerator on roller skates. Chopper riders usually cruise 2 miles to the bar, talk about freedom for 40 minutes, and then Uber home because they forgot the bike doesn't actually have a fuel gauge. Please subscribe, like, and comment what you like most about this video so I can make more of this stuff.